Jokerboxing. I got my boy TheJdil here. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? We coming at y'all once again. Now what?
Cool, cool. Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and talk about Nonito Donaire versus Abner because this is a fight that to me is definitely destined to happen based on the success of these guys. What are your thoughts on Abner and Nonito Donaire?
I'll start with Nonito Donaire. Alright, he beat some credible competition. I mean, he beat a pro squad. I mean, no, I take that back. He beat Sechenko. He beat Montiel. He has beaten Vasquez Jr. He has beaten Darchinian. He's beaten a lot of good fighters, and even up in this division,
Right. He just beat the Japanese guy. What's his name? What's the Japanese guy's name?
Nishioka.
Right.
I mean, even though Nishioka had a layoff and finally came back, and it's been a while since he fought, I mean, I still got to give Donaire credit. When you get in that ring, you're saying you're good enough to fight the guy. So Donaire Donaire did knock this guy out. Now, the thing I will give Donaire credit for, like, he has knocked a lot of guys out. There's some of the boxes that a lot of people say looks dominant to beat him. Well, some of the opposition, like, let's say Asimo Moreno. What opponent can I compare him with Nonito Donaire? I can use two fighters, for instance. Sechenko, who Moreno took the title from back in 2008 or 2007. Nonito Donaire knocked that guy out in 4 rounds.
Right.
Moreno won by decision.
Right.
Darchinian. I mean, yeah, Moreno looked dominant against that guy and made him look like he didn't belong in that ring. Donaire got rid of him in the first round, I think.
Yeah, and let me chime in on that real quick. Because my thing is, I think Nonito Donaire is a guy who's fought quality competition, and he's one of these guys who makes it look like easy work. He really does. So I don't see how a lot of people really like Adrian Broner, but they don't like Nonito Donaire. I mean, I don't really get it. Nonito Donaire, to me, he's got the power. He just looks good in the ring, man. I like his style, man. I really do.
That fight against Montiel, I mean, the consistency of Darchinian and Montiel, knockout after knockout gave him the recognition that people started to give him. But the problem is, as soon as he started fighting some slick boxers or technicians, he's pretty much looked kind of subpar at best.
Right.
So he struggled in the second half of the fight against Vasquez Jr. The one for his resiliency in 11th round or whatever, with that knockdown and everything, I think that could have been almost a draw type fight, or he barely won.
Well,
That fight against Matt Tabula had no business beating it in that fight against Donaire, but Donaire was just looking for a knockout. He wasn't trying to box.
Well, let me say something.
I think Donaire is getting too hungry for his power compared
Right.
to utilizing the other skills that he does have, making it
I
easier
agree.
for him.
I agree. But here's my deal, though. All of that being said, I don't go down too hard on Nonito Donaire because all we want is for these guys to fight the best out there. And there is a name that a lot of people are saying that this guy needs to fight, and we'll get to that. But that being said, here's a guy who's taking on tough competition. He's taking on challenges, and that fight will happen. I'm positive that fight will happen because Nonito Donaire has proven that he will fight everybody. So I feel like that fight's going to happen. But I feel like this guy needs to be given credit for the tough fights he's taking.
That's the perception. Perception's everything.
Right? But my thing is, like I said, if you're fighting tough competition and then you're made to look human, then okay, big deal. I mean, I want that for all of these guys. I feel like everybody in boxing, there is somebody out there, and that person doesn't even have to be that skilled, but there is somebody out there who has your number. There's somebody out there that on that given night, even though they could be a C- fighter, they could give you a tough fight and they could beat you. We saw it in Floyd's career, okay, with the Castillo fight, okay, and we've seen this in numerous careers in boxing. Boxing is a sport where a punch makes the difference. So in Nonito Donaire's case, I feel like the guy's a warrior. But let's get to this guy Abner Mares, man. What's your thoughts on Abner Mares coming off of his win over Moreno, man? What do you think about this guy?
For the last 2 years, well, for the last year, I would say Mares has been not only a little bit of a protected fighter, considering the circumstances where he's fighting at, but I mean, you could say the same thing about Andre Ward, even with the Super 6 tournament, but unlike Andre Ward, I wouldn't question the refereeing in some of the fights that he was in compared to what I would say about Abner or Mares. That Becko fight, really, the first one, that fight really woken my eyes up about Abner Mares. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Right, with the low blows.
100 fucking times.
Right.
And he don't get deducted with nothing. And eventually, fight. I think, wasn't that fight a draw?
Yeah.
The first time around?
Yeah.
Or did Mares get the decision?
I think, yeah, either way he kept his belt. I'm pretty sure. I remember he kept his belt.
Either way, the whole point is, I actually had Becko win that fight going by the skill set.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw that fight, I didn't consider the refereeing, the circumstances, and all that.
Well, right. The thing is, if you deduct the points, then yeah, he would have definitely lost. And a lot of people are saying that he's just a dirty fighter, man. People think this guy's a dirty fighter. Here's the thing. I'll say this. I don't like Abner Mares. I don't like him. But I'll say that it's nice to have different styles in boxing. I mean, I don't even really like his style. But it is cool to me to have guys who are gritty guys who will go in there and beat you by any means necessary, because historically we've had dirty fighters like that. You've had guys who talk a lot of trash, who get in the ring and they bully you around. And this kid's a bully. He's a bully. And to me, the bully's going to get beat up when he fights Nonito Donaire. That's just me. But I mean, I don't really like his style, but at the same time, it's different. Okay, it is something different.
His style. Now, comparing to the two fighters, like if Donaire had to fight between Moreno and Mares, I think he'll look even better against Mares compared to Moreno, considering the styles.
Right.
Like we've seen how Donaire fights fighters like a Moreno. Like I can go with a fight with him in a Matabula. Donaire is just not really into the fight when you fight fighters like that. And them type of fighters make him look bad boxing wise. But eventually, Donaire might get a knockdown or some kind of way to draw the momentum back to his side. But against a fighter who likes to come forward and everything, like a Mares likes to do, or likes to exchange in the pocket, that's all Donaire right there. Let me go on Mares' resume so far. Against somebody like Yanni Perez, he got a decision. I mean, not a decision, but that was considered a draw. In that fight, he looked stellar, but that was some good competition at 117.5. Against somebody like Dick Darchinyan, some people kind of argued that Darchinyan won that fight or that was a draw, but Mares didn't look good against that guy. But this is just step-up competition I'm just mentioning. Then somebody like a Joseph Becko, who's like a Saki Obika in a lot of other divisions. Somebody is not a gateway keeper, but he's game against anybody.
Right.
Or I'll just say like a Glenn Johnson. That dude was cheating like a motherfucker, but he was still struggling against him the first type of fight. The second type of fight, he held his own. Okay. Eric Morel. He was just an experienced fighter, but it was nobody on his level. Then, finally, the fight a lot of people wanted to give him credit for. Against somebody who is kind of elite at bantamweight. Osamo Moreno. I'm just very disappointed at Raul Cadiz Jr.
Right.
Usually he's a straight-up referee, but in that fight, I think he was paid underneath the table.
Yeah, I don't know what school these referees graduate from, honestly. I'm pretty sure these guys are all dropouts. But here's the deal. I think that, I see a fight between Abner Mares and Donaire, I see Mares getting really frustrated. And if that's the case, I mean, this guy's going to go ahead and he's going to try his tactics. I mean, he's going to have to use it against a guy like Donaire. He's going to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to hit you low a couple times, and even if I got to get deducted a point, I'll try to slow you down. Okay, and that being said, that's something that could change an outcome of a fight, man, because if you ain't getting caught for low blows, then, you know, that's crazy. So if I'm fighting this guy, I'm hitting him low. If I'm fighting Abner Mares, I'm hitting him low before he hits me low. I'm saying, you know what? This is how I'm fighting. This is how I'm fighting you. So, you know what? You want to play that game, that's how I'm going to play against you. And I think the person that does that is going to be the guy to expose this person, because that's how you beat a bully. You smack him in the mouth. All right? That's how you beat a bully. So that's just my thoughts on that.
I mean, this is what I want to give Mares credit for. Like, he got a good jab. He could hook. He could cross punch, and he got decent hand speed, and he has a great inside game. Problem with his inside game is he's not fully on target all the time. It's like gun range. Are you going to hit the main target, or are you going to go kind of outside the target?
Right.
And sometimes he goes a lot outside the target. So let's say his hands were like a gun, and I had a glass on top of my head. Will I trust him hitting that glass in my forehead sometimes?
Right.
No. That's my life right there. But I'm not going to dog him like that. I think if he wants to fight a Donaire just to get a payday, even though Donaire don't draw a fan base like that yet, just to get recognition or something for his division, and go for it. I just don't think the kid is ready. I mean, Donaire's competition, Zadarenko, Montiel, Narvaez is a very great defensive fighter. A very great defensive fighter. Donaire didn't look too stellar in that fight.
Yeah.
Against a Vasquez Jr.
Well, what it is, right, Vasquez spent him.
Donaire had no business struggling against the guy. But
right. Well, I think Junior's a good fighter. I think Junior's a good fighter, but like you're saying, I think what the recipe is if you got fast feet. This guy's feet are really fast, and I think you got to have quick feet to really match him.
True, very true. And I think if I had to visualize this fight, Mares is going to be stupid, keep coming forward in the pocket, and Donaire's going to set up either that right hand that's going to hurt and stun Mares. He's going to finish him up with a left hook, and Donaire's hand speed is just going to get rid of him.
Right.
And Donaire's going to justify people from HBO, you yourself, and others why he's pound for pound.
Yeah.
In this fight, Donaire will just make this look like easy work eventually. It'll be a brawl, it'll be good, but eventually I just don't see Mares having the chin or the stamina to take out Donaire.
Right.
Donaire's hand speed and power will just get rid of this dude.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring up pound for pound too, because Nonito Donaire's fighting good, man. And if this guy goes ahead and mix it up with a Rigondeaux and some of these guys that we want to see him fight, and a Mares, then this guy's got to get really high on some pound for pound lists. Now, some people have him high already. I don't really agree with that, just because the lower weight classes are, so-so. But, that being said, if this guy goes ahead and starts stacking up a resume, I'm putting him up there. Because my pound for pound resume is going to have a really big effect on it. And, for those of you who see my pound for pound, it's actually going to be changing pretty soon, because from some of those guys in that list, if I don't see some different things, it's definitely going to be getting rearranged.
And that's the beauty of a pound for pound list. It always stay the same.
Right.
So, how do you see that fight going, though?
Between Abner Mares and Nonito?
Yeah.
Man, like you said, Abner Mares is really wild. He's really wild in there. He needs to be close. And he doesn't even have a good jab to get in. I see Nonito Donaire keeping the fight in the middle of the ring, and I see him really using his jab and his speed and his footwork to really turn Mares a lot. And I see him just catching him a lot, just like that. Easy work all day. For Mares, the recipe for him is going to be to really try to push Nonito to those ropes and bang him to the body and then go low, and go ahead and try to bully Nonito and get him out of there. But I just don't really see that happening. But I will give Mares this. If you compare what Vasquez Jr. did to Nonito Donaire, I think Abner Mares would serve himself well to watch that tape and try to follow that game plan. mixed in with his tactics, and I think he could make for a good fight, man. You know, it could be a good fight if he follows Vasquez Jr.'s blueprint.
Okay, but my thing is, the only way Myers can win this fight against Donaire is keep smother him, don't give him no space, take away that right hand from him, and smother his left from time to time and fight him at angles.
Right.
And establish a jab in that fight. Donaire is easy for a jab and Donaire is easy for right hands.
Right.
But set up some combination to the body, to set up some punches. But I think, like you said, this would be no different than a Vasquez Jr. fight for Donaire. And to be honest with you, even if Myers did win that fight, I would be still suspicious considering his history. Now, there are some Myers tards on YouTube. I got some dislike from my last video. I'm talking about this is some bullshit. And they defend this guy, and I can tell they're Mexicans. But I don't have nothing against Mexicans, but come on, man. This obviously, the fight was a little dirty. I mean, am I saying Myers still won the fight? I say it was either a draw, considering how I score fights, where I would consider, okay, Myers' aggressiveness was good enough to give him the fight for a round or two.
I'll say this, man. I'll make this comment about Mares. I'm gonna say if this guy doesn't start getting penalized for low blows, he's gonna be winning a lot of fights because, man, if this guy is just allowed to low blow everyone and not get points deducted, he's gonna run through a lot of people, man. How do you beat a guy who's getting to hit low, who has an extra advantage in the ring? So that's why I say if I'm fighting this kid, that's the first thing I'm doing. As soon as the bell rings, bang, I'm going low on him. You know what I mean? I'm setting the tone from right there. Like, you know, if you want to play like that, let's play. You know, but I'm getting the first lick on him.
Yeah, I agree. As much shit as I give Nonito Donaire for ducking somebody like a Rigondeaux, I would actually like to see Rigondeaux fight somebody like Mares, just to see, because, you know, Rigondeaux might have better hand speed and a little bit more power than Moreno, but let's say Mares did that same style against, let's say, a Rigondeaux.
Right.
Does Rigondeaux have enough offensive output to stop that?
That's a good point.
Over somebody at Abner Mares. Then my next question will be, I know he got the power to knock him down, but can he finish a Mares?
Right.
But Rigondeaux does get some body work.
That fight that you just brought up between Mares and Rigondeaux, man, that's in my mind. That's like drawing some similarities between Castillo and Mayweather a little bit. You know, I'm thinking Mares is one of those guys who could put some heat on Rigondeaux a little bit. But hey, we'll see if we get to see that fight in time, man. But great video, man. Great talking with you, my man. And we're gonna go ahead and cut this one off, man. Great talking with you guys. You guys leave us your feedback as always, and just hit us up, man.